Hey guys, Julian here from SynthwavePro.com. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. So today we're going to take a close look at music production workflow tips. Let's jump right in. All right, so let's discuss some workflow ideas, things that are basically designed to help us with our production so that we can save some time. The first thing I like to point out here is the collections. So this is a feature that Ableton has implemented as of Ableton 10, I believe, Live 10 and onward. So if you have older versions, you may not have this option. But nonetheless, I have a few collections here. The first being the synths. These are the synths I typically like to use in my production. So I'll just really quickly include this in this category. So when I'm in the sort of heat of the moment and writing a track and I want to pull up a synth, I don't have to go into this extensive plugin folder that features many plugins. I can just, go to my sort of go-to synths and make that selection right over here. Second one being the EQ. Now, as you know, EQ is pretty much on every channel when you are creating tracks. And so I like to, pull up some of my favorite EQs here. You'll notice that although they are in alphabetical order, Ableton plugins always get priority. So for my EQs, you'll always see, the auto filter or the channel EQ or the EQ8, as well as the EQ3, and then you'll start to see those third-party plugins right underneath that list. So a really cool feature, something that allows you to hone in on your favorite or commonly used plugin so that you can easily access it right away. For me, the third category would be some of my widely used compressors. I tend to use a lot of stock compressors. And I have a few others from some third-party plugins, but I'm pretty much banging out the glue compressor and the stock compressor, and sometimes the multi-band dynamics courtesy of Live, all right? I have some saturators here that I like to use. I'll often just use, Ableton Saturator. I do include a number of other sort of, I wouldn't call them saturators, but things like the overdrive plugin, the erosion, the amp, these sort of distortion-based plugins. And so I will include that right over here into my saturation category. And of course, reverbs, right? What is Synthwave without reverbs? These are reverbs I like to use in my production. Obviously, the stock Ableton reverb makes tops the list here by default, and then I have a number of third parties going down here, all right? I do include the chorus, even though it's not a reverb. I just sort of toss it in there because I often like to tack on a chorus after a reverb in a lot of instances. These workflow tips help us maintain a state of flow, and instead of browsing through endless plugins, we can quickly access our collections and grab what we need. The more obstacles we remove during the production phase, the easier our songwriting process likely becomes. So the way you would actually create these collections, it's let's do a chorus, right? So let me go ahead and rename this to chorus, right? I will remove this one, start from scratch. All right, so we have no plugins in this category here. Head on over to audio effects, select the chorus, and because this is the 6th folder of my collection, the chorus folder, I'm going to go ahead and click the number 6 on my keyboard on this chorus plugin right over here, and then it should appear in my chorus collection. All right, so I'm going to go through my plugins bank, find out what other choruses I have, click the number 6, and automatically all of those choruses should appear here. Easy peasy. Another workflow tip I like to use is basically setting up every single channel, whether it's a Midi channel or an audio channel, with firstly a EQ8 and then a compressor, all right? Possibly the glue or maybe even the regular default compressor. It allows us to hone in on some different values, a little more flexible than the glue compressor. And so every time I load up a channel, this is what I am going to have. As you know, EQ is pretty much standard on every single track you're going to create. And of course, sometimes you may use compression, maybe not, but at least it's there, and it's very low in CPU. So you might as well tack it on, all right? You can even add a limiter just to put the icing on the cake. And so every time you would load a channel, you'd have this sort of setup. So now you come to this heading here, click on the save as default MIDI track, And so anytime I'm gonna cancel this for now. So anytime you were to load a MIDI track, you'd have this similar setup, right? And you don't have to go ahead and do this manually. Same thing for the audio track here, all right? Now, I know a lot of you already know these tips, so it may be a little redundant, but if you're new to the music production game here and you wanna speed up your workflow, this is one easy way of doing this, you know? Cutting out some of those redundant tasks that we do for every single track will sort of keep us in the state of flow so we can focus on the more important things, right? Such as writing music. As always, thank you for watching this video. That being said, stay safe and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.